quite ready and I turned myself on. Oh, that's kind of weird. Hi, welcome to Saturday morning. It is a beautiful day here in Vermont, and today we are focused on the difference between mindset and setting your mind to something. And part of the process will be to take things a little bit more slowly than we usually do. Although sometimes we take them pretty slowly, but so the idea here is when you set your mind to something, it tends to be goal oriented, rigid, you're determined, you're putting lots of effort and power behind it, and there's no space for adjustment, for allowing internal and external influencers to maybe shape it a little bit differently. You have set your mind to do a headstand, as opposed to having a mindset where it's more about an attitude. It's more about having a space within which to work and allowing for change to take place, to be more fluid, to not feel like you have to control or try to control either external or internal influencers. So maybe the difference is something like, I am going to do a headstand to, I'm going to make the most out of my practice and I'm going to work toward feeling comfortable and fearless in any pose. That's it. No, that's not the end of class. All right. So I am going to recommend, if you have a wall, you can go put your legs out the wall, or you can grab a couple of pillows. I know I didn't really have you prepared because I didn't offer it, but we are actually going to start out in an inversion. And I'm going to use 2 bolsters for that. See, so you don't really need to have a wall nearby. I did this with my spa class last night and they loved it. So I'm going to take 2 bolsters. I'm going to do this sideways so you can see better. And I'm simply going to scooch up. You can do this, by the way, with a living room chair or the couch, just by bringing your shins onto the couch. So it's still going to be an inversion. I'm going to scoot my bottom a little closer so my thighs are a little straighter up and down. Palms up if you can. We'll try not to do a shavasana before we end the class. So we're settling in. Maybe a little movement around to let the low back connect to the earth. Maybe scoot your shoulder blades a little toward your hips. So when you breathe in, we're going to sort of create this roundness at the top and the bottom. In singing, we call it circular breath. I don't actually know all of the practices of that, but we're going to move the breath more so that there's continuity at the top and at the bottom of the breath. When you breathe out, you're going to breathe out through a very small O of your lips. If you need something under your head or neck, go ahead and take that. But not unlike a headstand, this is an inversion. We're reversing a bit of the blood flow. Now consider your mindset coming to this practice. I had a mindset actually of leaving things open to have some fun. You might call that an intention, but my intention is to share what I know with you to the best of my ability so that you get something out of it. So maybe now, after you consider your mindset, you bring to mind an intention. Maybe they're the same thing. hand on the belly and a hand on the heart. Feel how the breath changes the shape of the body. It's easier to feel when your hands are moving along with the body. The arms lift to the sky, and then you settle them in on a breath out so that the shoulder blades are still connected to the earth. A little wiggle of the fingers. We'll find wrist circles, first in one direction and then the other. You can do the wrists both in the same direction or different. Mine kind of just naturally went to different directions. And come to stillness. That's as if you are reaching to tickle the clouds, but you're not reaching so hard that you're rounding your spine. On an inhale, the arms reach up overhead. Maybe the backs of the hands come to the ground. Maybe they don't. Maybe you need to move that into a cactus shape. My low back just arched a little bit. I'm going to bring it down toward the mat. And I can totally feel my shoulders and armpits opening up. I'm mindful that I'm not trying hard, setting my mind to something, but more so embodying, manifesting my mindset. Arms lift up overhead. They remain there as you breathe out. Inhale and breathe out, hands by your sides. And whether you're against a wall or not, we're going to go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together. This feels really yummy to me. So if the feet need to be more against the wall with the knees out, or maybe if you're on the couch, maybe on the seat, or maybe at the front of the couch. But here we're giving ourselves a prop to help the hips start to open. Check in with your shoulders. Sometimes they creep up around the neck and ears. We're going to place the knees back to the edge of wherever we are, or if your legs are up the wall, you're going to bend your knee and put your right foot onto the wall. Then we're going to go ahead and cross the left ankle above that right knee and use the left hand to press that away. Now, it's really easy to have this move into your low back. So I just moved my hips a little bit to the left. Both feet are active, shoulder blades on the ground. The description promised that we would hold the asanas a bit longer than we normally do, and we are doing exactly that. Welcoming a change in the body over time, maybe even a change in your mindset or your self-talk. We'll gather that left knee in toward the chest. Give it a nice squeeze. Wrap your arms or your hands around your shins if you can. Bring that thigh as close to your belly as possible. Find circles again with the ankle. Mine just cracked, so it definitely needed a little bit more. And the other way. Lift that leg toward the sky. Maybe the hands are behind the thigh or the calf or the ankle, but you really don't want to be on the knee and you want the shoulders to be against the ground. So for me, with tight hamstrings, that means keeping my hands behind my thigh and alternate between reaching the toes and the heel to the sky. A half happy baby, whereby you bend that knee outside the armpit. The arm reaches long inside your leg. Your hand takes the sole of the foot or the outer or inner edge, and you really go ahead and draw that thigh to the outside of the body. Just realized I have socks on. And we then plant that foot either on the wall or the knee back to the edge of your bolsters or your couch or whatever it is you're on. If I can remember what we did, we're going to take all that to the other side. So the first thing we did was take our socks off. I believe was to hug that knee in and then cross the right ankle above the left knee, coming into a supine figure four. The aim is for the hips to be even. It's actually nice to feel when you're on the floor, whether they are or not. Both feet are activated. And the leg stretches toward the sky after it comes in toward your chest, alternating between pointing the toes and the heel to the sky. Shoulder blades making their way to the earth. And move into our half happy baby here. And check, because often in this posture, leg that is not in the half happy, it is not the half happy baby, those glutes tend to move away from the ground. So you're going to see if you can move your low back and your hips so that the left glutes are on the ground. Love hip opening. Oh, it feels so good. To me, it kind of travels all the way up the body and just softens everything. For a flying Baddha Konasana, which I don't even know if it's a real thing, the soles of the feet draw together above your hips. You draw the knees wide and draw the feet toward you with your hands. Oh boy, that feels so good. Whoo! We'll draw the knees together and drop everything over to the right side into a fetal position. It might feel better to have a blanket or a pillow or something between your knees. Your hands can come under your head, or you can bring a towel or a blanket there. Have you set your mind, or do you have a mindset? Have you created the space to allow whatever arises internally or externally to arise? And then you have a choice. You might choose to respond and adapt. You might choose to acknowledge and let it go. Move into a twist. So we'll go ahead and take that, keep the left knee with the right, take the left arm and drop it to the other side. I tend to have to shimmy my shoulder blades over to the right in order to let my left shoulder blade meet the ground. It's a big twist. I can feel it pretty significantly in my left thigh and from my right shoulder blade all the way around to the left hip that's on the top. I'm going to roll onto the back, drawing the knees in, settling the spine back to the ground. Fetal position on the other side. So your right arm comes over, your knees drop over. I have somehow managed to get closer to my bolsters. Maybe your hands under your head, maybe a pillow or blanket between your knees. We'll go ahead and roll onto the back. Spread your left arm long and your right arm long. And then shift as you need to, either your bottom or your shoulders, to bring the shoulders toward the ground. In whatever way you desire, because I happen to be sideways rather than perpendicular to my mat or parallel to my mat, we're going to go ahead and find our way into a child's pose. In this child's pose, I encourage you to use a blanket or a pillow or a towel to bring a little height to your chest and allow the head to rest on something. Palms are on the ground. Big toes touch. Knees are nice and wide. Head can be to one side. And turn your head to the other side. Hands walk backwards. Remove your prop, whatever it is. Bring your hands right to the mat. You're in a tabletop shape. Then you're going to tuck your toes under and draw your sitting bones toward your heels. We'll take the backs of the hands, place them on the mat, and work the energy toward the outer wrists. Sometimes the wrists and the elbows like to move outward. Go ahead and have the inner elbows face one another. And check that your fingers are pressed toward the earth. Looks like a kid's toy box exploded in here. Maybe a rock forward and backward, maybe not. And we take it the other way. Palms on the ground, maybe fingers out side to side, or perhaps you have the stretch to bring them more toward your knees. And now we're opening the inner arms and the inner wrists. All right. Hands will come back under the shoulders. Feet spread apart a little bit, some cats and cows. Or maybe you find some hip circles, or you could do rolling cats and cows, which I love that kind of, well, I guess it's a roll. That's why it's called a rolling cat and cow, like a wave. One more cycle. And if you did something asymmetrical, complete it on the other side. A little look to the right, a little look to the left, and we return to tabletop. We'll take the right leg, stretch it behind us, but keep the ball of the foot on the ground. And press, press, press into that heel. Draw the belly in, a little real estate between your shoulders. You should feel this in your calf, perhaps your Achilles heel, certainly your toes and the sole of the foot. We're going to work on balance, so press lots of energy into the top of the left foot that is on the ground. We're going to shift forward a tiny bit and float that right leg off the mat. You might need to square up your hips. Add to the balance by reaching the left arm in front. We're going to pause here. Reach those fingers forward, reach that heel back. Use your glutes, the top of the left foot, and your belly. If you can, while keeping that leg lifted, you're going to move your left arm to the left and scoot it behind the right wrist. If you can't keep your leg up, that's okay. Not the easiest posture. Scooting it out is even harder. And then we're going to open up the hips. Stack the right hip over the left, bend the right knee. Ankle circles. You might feel this in your buttocks, your upper thigh. Square your hips once again. Stretch that right leg out. Sweep it above the left calf as far as you can so the foot is outside the mat. Then we'll untuck the toes and draw the front of the right hip toward the left heel. It's not exactly a pigeon. It's a bit more of a focused on the glutes on the left side. So if you're not feeling it, or you feel like your mindset has a little bit more area to play with, you can tuck the right toes under and float the knee off the mat. If you can, the palms are flat on the mat. And we rise back up, knee to the nose. Inhale, extend, and the knee returns to the mat. Your body might now be calling for something else. Again, cats and cows, another sort of stretch. I'm going to find a stretch in my underarms in a child's pose approach. We'll return to the tabletop. And this time, left leg moves behind, long behind you, ball of the foot on the ground. Send your energy into that heel. Really stretch the leg, the underside of the foot, aka the sole. Not the sole, the other sole. or not the sole or the location sole, but the other sole. All right, make sure you're not putting too much energy into your wrists or your thumbs. Float that leg off the mat. Square up your hips. Usually the leg you're lifting, the hip likes to rise up. And then extra challenge, right hand in front. Extra challenge, right hand to the right. Keep your left leg lifted and then thread the right hand underneath, behind the left, finding a twist. Oh, that feels so good, my back. Yes. Bigger challenge coming out of it, keeping your leg lifted. And then we sweep that leg above the right calf, scoot the front of the left hip to the right heel. And if need be, for a little extra oomph, we'll lift that left knee off the mat. And float back to your three-legged tabletop. Open up your hips, left hip over right, bend your left knee. Extend the legs, square up the hips, that knee comes to your nose. Inhale, stretch. And exhale, knee to the mat. Let's keep the knees close to one another. Draw the sitting bones back, stretch the arms in front, Balasana 1. Stack your hands if you need to let your forehead rest on something. You might have noticed we were doing everything on the mat today. And I think we might do a down dog, but that's probably about it. We're going to rise up after I check what time it is. Okay. I'm going to rise up, moving into some back bend. So we're going to tuck the toes under. If you have and you feel open enough and safe enough to do a full camel all at once, you're going to take that 2 times. If you're not, or if you've never done a camel, or you feel a little tight in your back, or you have low back squeeginess, not a word, take the heels of your hands and place them where the flesh meets the back. So you're going to push down the buttock flesh, draw the belly in a bit, maybe make a little bit of a wider stance with your knees. I have my toes tucked under for a reason. Which you'll realize in a few moments. So pressing the flesh down, press that flesh, say hello. Send your pelvis forward. Doesn't come forward a lot. It's a little sort of squish of your buttocks, a tilt of the low, the tailbone, and then you'll start to feel that in the quads and the psoas. Now we want to extend, I would love to permanently extend, between the bony hips and the rib cage. So making that waist a little bit longer, then we squeeze the shoulder blades together. You're already in the back bend, but I bet you can go a little deeper. Imagining that the heart has a beautiful ribbon attached to the moon, and you're sharing the lunar side, this cool side, if you will, of light with the moon, and then maybe your head drops back. If you'd like to add to it, your left hand reaches down behind you for your left heel. Work to center your hips, This might feel really strong pull on the right quads and psoas. And then drop your right hand, sweep it up and back. Continue to press the tailbone and the pelvis forward. Right hand comes to your heart. Left hand comes to your heart. Scoop the belly in. Draw the shoulders over the hips. Take a seat onto your heels. You can always put something underneath your knees. And we're going to do a little helicopter with the arms. Maybe even making noise. If you can, and it's not a health issue, you might tap the lymph nodes or other parts of the body for activation and regulation. Bring your hands just outside and in front of your knees and round your spine a bit. Take that out. It's like a mini cat. You're not doing the cow cup. You're not doing the cow part. So a mini cat is lifting the sitting bones off the heels and drawing the low ribs toward the bony hips. But of course, we need to do the other side. So those who have done a full camel, go ahead and take it again. Otherwise, kneel up, tuck toes, heels of hands low back, press flesh down, point hips, pelvis, tailbone forward, lengthen the torso, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the heart, drop the head. Maybe your right hand meets your right heel, and maybe your left arm floats high and back. Pressing those hips forward, drawing the tailbone down and forward. Left hand to your heart, right hand meets it. Scoop of the belly in, and let's take a full child's pose. If you can, bring the arms in front because we're going to do another twist from here. Big toes touch, knees are wide this time. Arms long in front, even if you need to put a blanket or something underneath your forehead. We're going to take a sort of tabletop twist. But we're going to stay in a child's shape. So we're going to lift the head up, draw the right arm behind and underneath the left elbow, place the right palm up, and then maybe lengthen your neck and put the right side of your head on the ground. I like to lift onto my fingertips on the longer arm, the arm in front. And if your bottom came away from your heels, maybe you drive it backward a little bit. As you unwind, bring the palms together. So the pinky fingers are on the mat and the thumbs toward the sky. Head is resting on something. Sitting bones toward your heels, bend your elbows, the fingers come behind your head, your neck, or between your shoulder blades. One at a time, walk them forward, but you don't want to lift the bottom from the heels. So only go as far as you can. You might feel this across the back, between the shoulder blades, where I do, but you might also feel it in your triceps. Triceratops. Help, I have a triceratops above my elbow. And the same thing again, this time the right arm extends. We lift the head off the mat, lift the left arm out, and then scoot it under and behind the right elbow. Head moves toward the right. We'll unravel from this. And this time, arms long in front. We lift the wrists off the mat, so we're on the fingertips. The head lifts a teeny bit. We're really long in the spine, and the hands crawl to the outside of the mat on the right. Head can drop. Feel that left sitting bones reach toward the left heel. So we're stretching all the way from the left hip to the left pinky finger. Feel it in the ribs. Inhale, crawl through to center, and exhale, move to the other side. Inhale, crawl through to center. Find your way back to a tabletop. I am checking time once again. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches, tuck your toes under, and lift into a downward dog. You can find any playfulness that feels good in your legs, your feet, your chest. The noggin is really loose. Inhale, come forward to your plank. Pause for strength. Bottom is not higher than the shoulders, but we're not sinking our belly and chest down to do that. Exhale to downward dog again. Inhale, peel forward. High plank. And then we lower all the way down to the mat. We're going to take the arms into a cactus shape, so they're outside your mat. Forehead on the ground. You might widen your legs a little bit. If your shoulders are reasonably open or you want to try something a little deeper, you might straighten the left arm out from the shoulder. The right hand comes underneath the right shoulder, and then we use that right hand to roll ourselves onto the left side. You may lift the right leg. You might bend the right knee and bring that foot behind the left leg. That might be too much. Roll back onto the belly. Take it to the other side. So straighten out, space between your feet. Right arm out or in a cactus, left hand under your left shoulder. Push to roll onto your right side. Left leg might lift. You might bend that knee and place your left foot behind your right calf. And roll back. We're going to come to our tabletop. Do a little rolling cat-cow. And then from here, we're going to move into a pigeon. So your right leg, you might use your hands to get it there. The knee comes behind the right hand. Then you're going to scoot using your toes, that left leg as far back as you can, straight out of the hip. Maybe use a prop under your right hip. If your hips are not square, but do not lean onto the right hip. Find your fold. Pigeon. All right, hands come under the shoulders, remove any prop you might have. We're going to come back to our tabletop. Take a little swishing movement or rolling movement, whatever feels good. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Maybe your hands help your left knee come behind your left elbow. We're coming into this without sweeping the leg up. Scoot the right leg straight back out of the hip. Find your prop if you need it. Do not lean the left hip onto the ground. That is a different posture and not always helpful for our bodies. And you fold. And rise back up. This time we will shift onto the left hip. And we're going to go ahead and swing the right leg around to come into Baddha Konasana, our upright bound angle pose. We sit up nice and tall. And if you like to find a fold, the thumbs come inside the arches of the feet and you peel the feet open like a book. And roll forward. Drop your head. Use the belly to rise up one at a time. Place your peace fingers inside your big toe. Extend that leg up. And then bring the heel down. Other side, peace fingers inside the left big toe. Extend that leg up. And bring the heel down. And we fold over our legs. Seated double-legged forward fold. Paschimottanasana. To make sure we have enough time for Shavasana, we're going to roll back up. Go ahead and re-find the position you were in with whatever props, your pillows, your bolsters, your blankets, your chair, your couch. Scoot your bottom toward them. And bring your shins on unless you're in a full legs up the wall, which you might have that. I mean, most of us have walls. Not everybody. So you could use that as a prop. Arms spread out. Whew. Inhale the arms up, clap, and exhale, let them go. Ankle circles, open and close the toes and the fingers. Maybe you prefer to have your hands over your head or a hand on the belly and a hand on the heart. Settle back in, maybe pressing the low back to the mat. We come back to our mindset. Did you experience an openness, a flexibility, rather than an attachment to some expectation, something that you set your mind to? And what about your intention? Did you allow that to manifest? All right, hug your knees back into your chest. Give them a good squeeze. Find your way into a fetal position and press yourself to stand. Sorry, I keep looking at my phone. It's about time. It's time. I don't have my regular clock in front of me today. So your seated posture, your easy pose. Hands can be anywhere. We consider the beauty of coming to our mat, whether individually or together, whether in person live in the same space or in person live not in the same space, or whether on recording. The beauty is we are performing self-care in a way that enables us to care better for others, whether that's the littlest teeny bit, like just smiling and saying hello to someone you don't know, or sort of an all out, I am caring for this individual because they cannot care for themselves. We'll end with an Om. We bring the palms together. Cleansing breath, and then we'll inhale deeply for Om. So for cleansing breath, a breath in and out the mouth. Slowly breathe in and for Om. May all beings be happy. May they live with ease. May they find comfort in their own hearts, and may they share their compassion. Namaste. It was great to not only practice the physical practice with you today, but also to explore setting your mind to something versus mindsets. And I'd love to have a discussion with any of you about that if you'd like. So drop me a note either through Salt and Sand Studios or through contact@saltandSandstudios for email, or DM me. Thank you. Have a good one.